What's up and welcome guys to One Oak Mentoring. I'm back. The #1 team virtual mentoring service program entity, commodity, franchise, organization of all times. How y'all doing out there today? Okay, today we're going to be talking about visitations. I just recently did visits on Saturday. Well, of course, I don't know how long ago that was, but this is a few days ago. So I just decided to make a video about visitations. Right here is what you guys are seeing is the gym. This is where we have visitation. It's not necessarily set up in visitation mode, but normally there's like tables and chairs, maybe like 8 or 9 tables and chairs all around the gym. And then the staff member sits up front, right? All right, so I'm going to break this down for you, the whole visitation process. So visitations, basically they have visits. Well, let's get to the history of visitations. When I first started, this thing was way different, right? So we would actually do visitation in the hallway, and like we would have maybe like 3 to 4 tables going to the right, 3 to 4 tables going to the left. And you know, it was kind of crammed, but you know, we made it work, right? And the reason we were, now that I think about it, back then, I think everybody was visiting at the same time. So it was just a big time, not a big time. They just had a big space of time for them to have visitations, which I think back then, I want to say it was like 11 to 5, actually. Yeah, I think visits were like 11 to 5. So it's like 6 hours, right? And they would do, let me see if I remember. I think they would do both sides. So both sides will have their visitation all at the same time. So they're all just like piling there, you know what I mean? And another part of visitation is they will have visitations during the week where you go out to the gazebo and it's unsupervised. It's just you and your parents, right? Yeah, wonderful idea. Okay, but yeah, okay, back to the hallway. That's how visitation was pretty much set up. This is the hallway right here. Not the full scope of it, but yeah, so yeah, that's how visits was. So then there just became like situations were coming up, and so we had to split the visits up by side. And so then we start doing like Saturday and Sunday, right? So one side would be on Saturday and one side would be on Sunday. So, and then they split the visitations up. It was from 11 to 2. No, you know what? This is how they would do it. Okay, I had it all mixed up. So before, when they did the 11 to 5, it wouldn't be all sides there at the same time. It would be, the first half would be like bridges and the second half would be horizons. But the visitation person will be there pretty much the whole time, right? So, okay, back to the gym visits. They had to start putting people in the gym just because they think the visitation would be better because they could see a full scope of people. Like when you're in the hallway, you can't only like look right or left, and you're like, man, you know, if I'm looking to the left, something could be going on to the right, right? So they came up with the bright idea to just start having it in the gym. So, okay, I actually think the gym is actually better, if you know what I mean. A crazy story, one time I was doing visits and I came in and man, it was just like freaking haywire, man. It was chaos. So what happened is there was a kid that was having a seizure, right? So we had the ambulance had the door like wide open, right? So they're like, you know, going over there giving him medical assistance, right? And then like the door's like wide open. So like I'm just coming in to do visitation. I'm like, wow, this is a lot going on. And then while the door was wide open, these 3 stray dogs just came in and just started going up to people's tables and just sniffing, and like, I don't know, it was just real crazy. But that's just like a wild visitation, a wild visitation story that I had. But anyway, so Saturday I did visits, and they have certain rules, like you know, as far as the parents, they're supposed to be approved on an approved list to come and see the kid, right? Because some of these kids have certain cases and things to where they might not be able to see certain members of their family, or, you know, it might not be healthy, right? And, you know, there's this whole checklist of things that that their therapists have to send out to the parents before visiting, like the rules, like you're not supposed to really use your phone. Kids can't be on your phone. You just can't wear anything. Like if a woman just wants to wear like a low cut shirt, you will have to give her a shirt or something, or ask her to leave or step out. The residents cannot step out to the vehicle with them. If anything, they have to, just go by themselves. And the parents have to go to their car by themselves, because we're supposed to be supervising these kids, right? That's the whole thing about it. So let's see. Visits went pretty smooth. You have like a visitor bind, a visitor bin, and that's for the stuff that they drop off for the kids. So if your parent comes and visits you, they come and they'll come in there. They might, bring you some clothes or bring you some stuff, that you need. But this kind of upsets some of the kids, because they think and they feel they're entitled to have their stuff right then and there. But their therapist has to go and, inventory it. Well, I'll get to that. But their therapist has to check it off just to make sure that it's in possession of the group home. And we have to like sign off on inventory sheets. I have to do an inventory sheet. So if they give kids something, let's say if they got a blanket, some pants, some shoes, a deck of cards, there's an inventory sheet that I have to fill out, and I write it and I put it in their bag. And once their therapist gets it Monday morning, they go through it and they just make sure everything is accounted for. Just because if something gets stole, there's a record saying, okay, all right, this was actually here, right? But some of the kids like, man, I need to get mine now, man. I'm going somewhere this weekend. I need to have my Jordans right now. Like, hold on, calm down, brother. Your therapist will be here Monday. You'll be able to get it, my brother. But yeah, that's the process as far as like with the stuff that they can bring. Residents are not really allowed to bring stuff to visits. I'm not really sure why. It's probably because of like, just to make sure nothing gets lost or something like that. Or, some kids are very manipulative. They'll just try to, bring certain stuff down there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on like with these visits that we really have to take into account, because some of these kids don't come from the best cultures or backgrounds, so a lot of stuff that they think is cool might not be. Like I've seen they had this rule one time. Well, I'm not gonna say one time, but they're not really supposed to like hug or something like that. And I mean, dang, man, when I used to do visits and like, I don't know, man, I kind of just let it slide, because it's like, man, like that would suck, man, if your kid was here. And it's like, man, you only see them once a week or once every 2 weeks. And it's like you trying to hug, and then like an employee or staff comes over there. Hey, you're not supposed to be hugging your kid. Man, I mean, I don't know, man. I kind of let it slide, because I'm like, man, that's like grounds for like, I mean, I would understand if somebody would want to hurt me if I came and said, hey, man, you can't hug them. We can't hug them here. So, but I think we kind of like got that rule loosened up a little bit to where you can hug, but like no excessive hugging, because there's a lot of I don't want to get too crazy, but there's a lot of inappropriate mindsets of parents of the kids here and the kids as well. But I'm not gonna get too much into that, right? So yeah, visitation, right? So I'm doing visitation. I have like the bin where we actually put their stuff in, and then we have a folder which says who's approved, and and the kid has to come, the resident has to come and sign in, and then the parent has to come and sign them in as well. So we need a signature from the parent and the resident, right? And the seats are pretty much spread pretty much far apart, so they can kind of have the privacy, but I still can see them. But yeah, let me see, what else am I leaving out? Yeah, and as far as like the food thing, a big thing about visits is kids, their parents, or and with the visits, it's always not just their parents. Sometimes they don't have parents, sometimes they got other type of guardians, and sometimes we have this wonderful program where if a kid's parent stays too far away, or they just don't have anybody, because sometimes some of these kids just don't have anybody, and you see some of these kids get visits all the time, got big support system. So there is a system in play for some of these kids to just kind of have somebody just like have a volunteer visit, right? So I think that's a beautiful thing, man. I'm kind of tearing up right now. Nah, I'm just joking, but yeah, man, that's very heartwarming, man. Somebody comes out and visit. But the big thing about it is when they have their visits, like it's like a food thing, right? Because even though I'm the cook and I make some of the best food, they're always looking forward to like some fast food or some of that grandmama's good old cooking, you know what I mean? So that's cool, man. So you just hear a lot of the guys, just really excited talking about it. Oh man, my grandma's gonna bring me Chinese. My grandma's gonna bring me, well, my dad's gonna bring me KFC. Just to see the little excitement in the teenager's mind, just over little stuff like that, man. I don't know, man. It just makes the job worth it, right? So during visitation, it's a really smooth. That's one of the best. I'm not gonna say the best things to do here, but it's very laid back. As long as you don't have a lot of issues like people wanting to do extra stuff. Hey, can this person come? Hey, can they step out to the car? And then you have to tell them no, right? I don't have a problem telling them no about anything, just except the hugging thing, because I'm like, oh man, like, but yeah, visits went pretty fine. A lot of the kids would bring, or a lot of the parents might bring like cards, and so they might play like card games or board games. At one point in time, they were like somebody brought in like a big television or something. This was years and years ago, but I think they cut that out, man. But hey, that was a pretty good idea. I've even seen somebody get a haircut on visits. They was like, man, I don't like the way they cutting their hair up here. I'm just gonna come and cut your hair myself. I thought that was very, very funny. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's how visitation went. This is the visit video. That's pretty much it. I might make a few more in-depth videos, but yeah, that's just the visitations. Anybody can get a visit. You don't have to be on a certain level. Even if you've been in a lot of trouble, you still have access to your visit, unless you do something like very crazy, like to where you don't have volunteer prayers, and or they just might take your visitation prayers if you do something. But you got to really do something bad to really get your visitation taken away. But yeah, like I said, I think that's everything. I think I covered mostly everything about visitations. Let's see, what else can I say? I mean, yeah, that's just pretty much it. That's the thing. I actually love doing visits. I haven't did visits in a while, but well, except for this past Saturday. So, I don't know, man. This is One Oak, and I am out. See you soon.